All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. This is the Best Places to Live Real Estate Podcast. And this season, we are focusing exclusively on Southern California best places to live. And so today, my guest is from Los Angeles County, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the city of Burbank. So I'm excited for today's episode. So welcome, Vic, to the show. Vic Markarian, how are you today?
Doing great. Thank you very much. Uh,
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for being here today. I always love when our guests have a lot of experience, and I know we can learn a lot from you today. So let's start the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe how long you've been in real estate, anything you can share there.
yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Um, Regarding myself, I'm Armenian. I came from Baghdad in 1979. I was 17 years old. I
Wow.
came by myself, alone, and my parents didn't want me to come. My mom gave me one simple instruction. It goes, son, when you go to US, hey, work for free, don't sit on your butt. No
Wow.
matter what you do. Yeah, so it was a great advice. That's one of my first job when I found in a gas station. So then when I came, I stayed with my aunt. With their family lived in a garage actually, and then went to school. Glendale College, worked full time, and went to school part time. Then went Cal State LA, Long Beach for masters. And 1986, I got my bachelor's degree in engineering. And then in real estate, how did I start? 1986, at the time I got my bachelor, there was a church in Burbank, Calvary Bible Church. My brother used to go. So I went there. That's the way I, and used to be outside theater in Burbank. They don't have it anymore,
Okay. Yeah.
current, you drive with your car. We used to go a lot there. It was next to the church, by the way. So anyway, and it was 1989. I was working engineering, and the owner filed a bankruptcy at Christmas
Well,
time. It would be great, beautiful family. But they had to do what they had to do. So I had my real estate license, and I said I will try real estate for 6 months. I'm here 33 years, so yeah, it's a long time. So my first
that's
real estate,
amazing.
yeah, exactly. It was, I don't know how I came. It's by grace of God, I guess. On Magnolia in California, that was the first office I worked. It was in Burbank. So that's where I started my real estate. And then we moved again. The broker moved on Orange Grove and Glen Oaks. And Burbank is very close to my heart, because I started my real estate there. I proposed my wife in 1992 at a restaurant, Italian restaurant there. So it's a lot of things. We go a lot in Burbank. My wife loves Burbank.
Yeah, you have a lot of history there.
Yeah.
I'm curious, when you first moved to the United States, did you land in Burbank or was there another city first?
Oh, first I came to Glendale in
Oh,
1979.
Glendale. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm 61. I still in Glendale. It's almost 44 years.
Wow.
But
Awesome.
yeah, yes.
Well, for those who are listening to the show, they may not know exactly where Glendale or Burbank is. Can you describe the area, maybe for an out of area person, maybe someone who lives on the East Coast or something like that, and they aren't familiar with the area? Where exactly is Burbank and this Glendale market that you're talking about, too?
Well, few ways they can find out. One is Rose Parade is in Pasadena. It's like driving distance, 10, 15 minutes. Burbank, if people know Bob Hope Airport, if anyone know Bob Hope,
Yep.
they can. And downtown Los Angeles, it's close to downtown Los Angeles. It's 10, 15 minutes drive. So that's where Burbank and Glendale is.
Yeah, right in the heart of LA.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is a real estate show. So I do want to ask you about the real estate numbers. What can you tell us about how expensive and or affordable Burbank homes are right now?
Uh, is it okay if I share two of them I just sold like a month and a
Yeah,
half ago in
absolutely.
Burbank?
Yeah,
Both
yeah.
were amazing. Honestly, both of them, it's a good, uh, I can say, history on it. One of them was 218 North Catalina. We just sold it. Sold over $900 square feet. Was 2,400 square feet. Sold close to 2,000,000 2,190,000, and that's the highest sold in Burbank as of now. I'm sure in the future it's
Wow.
going to be higher. Yeah, and people purchased it. I think a few years ago we sold it to them for 650 or 670, and they built 2,400. It's a good. I mean, Burbank is a great city. You make good profit, I think. And the
Yeah.
second one, which is another amazing, I'm humbled to say, the person who made my ring has actually passed away, but his son and his wife, like 31 years ago, I sold them a house on Lincoln, 423 Lincoln, and they came back to me after 31 years, and I think the time we purchased was 250 or 230, and we sold it 1,250,000. I mean, we had like
Wow.
20 some offers,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. It's a humbling experience to see someone who comes back, you know,
Yeah.
after 31 years, you know. So those are the two things. And the prices in Burbank, it's two bedrooms. If it's like over 5,000 square feet, it's going to be over $1 million. Depends on the square footage. The good areas are north of Glen Oaks, obviously, some people know. And below Glen Oaks is Magnolia Park. It's a nice neighborhood. I love that neighborhood. And there's Toluca Wood area, which is close to Toluca Lake. And those are the areas that I don't know. I love Burbank. My wife, we love it. We go almost a lot there, you know, restaurants and things.
Yeah, so I do want to circle back to those neighborhoods you mentioned, but I guess first, why do you think people move to Burbank, or why do you think they choose to live there as opposed to, I don't know, downtown LA or some other neighboring city? What's the draw to Burbank?
Okay, good question. See, one of the great things in Burbank is the schools. They are, you know, 9 out of 10 the
Okay.
scores, most of the schools. It's second is safety. They have their own police department. They have their own fire department. I love other cities too in LA County, honestly. But if you call a cop, probably they don't show up 2 3 hours 4 hours, but Burbank,
Yeah.
you call the cop, I mean they're there immediately.
Yeah.
um, so those are the school, and also, you know, Disney, and um, you know, one of the big, you know, Disney has a lot of buildings there. Warner Brother has a lot of buildings there. um, and you know, population is about 100, a little bit over 100,000. It just, I don't know, I love the community. They have good restaurant, the downtown, and you know, uh,
Yeah.
so those are the places. I think that's the reason people come there, because of safety, and the prices. Really, it's good. You know, you buy properties in Burbank usually after 10 years. Everywhere it goes up, but Burbank really goes high. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's such a central location to all things in LA, so that's probably a big draw as well. You did mention a couple neighborhoods, and I wanted to ask you what kind of the typical house looks like. Meaning, is Burbank sort of brand new construction or older historic homes, or what do the homes look like?
It's mixed. But now lately they start building new construction,
Oh,
and it's not easy to get permits in Burbank for new construction, but they start building it. Most of them are built in 50s, you know.
yeah,
Um, it just how could I say? I love all the neighborhood in Burbank. Only there's few places like west of Hollywood Way. It's a flight path because they have airport. You know,
oh,
Burbank Airport, Burbank Hollywood Glendale Airport. That's what they call it, Bob Hope Airport. So that's the only area that you know, sometimes it's a, but still it's a hot market. No matter where you have a
yeah,
property in Burbank now, you get multiple offers.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Is your inventory extremely low, like much of the other markets?
yeah, it is extremely low in Burbank. Yeah, when I get a listing in there, I mean it's crazy. We get 20 offers, 25 offers. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
First, 2 3 days. I mean,
Yep.
we get so many offers because of the inventory. It's,
Yeah, the market's pretty wild. Sometimes I feel like we hear these stories that everyone's moving out of California or out of Los Angeles, and yet here you are saying there's 20, 25 offers in 3 days. So it's still a beautiful place to live, and we have amazing weather and all these other things. So it's always going to be a great place to live. So I'm glad to hear your market's performing well. How about anything on the, I want to say, recreation of the community? So, do you have any good like parks or shopping or dining? Anything you want to talk about there?
yeah, the Burbank Mall. We go there sometimes, Burbank Mall, but my wife and I mostly we go to restaurant. Our favorite is Black Angus. They have great steak
Yeah.
and at a good price. Yeah, and I think my wife thinks it's the best steak they ever. They have different type of steaks. There's Gukaku. It's a Japanese restaurant. We go there. I love that one too. And we go Castaway, which is a beautiful place. You can have like unbelievable view. It's a restaurant with unbelievable view. Uh,
I have been to the Castaways. I think I went there for like a brunch. So early, champagne, but really amazing food. And you're right, the views are stunning. I think it's actually a pretty popular wedding venue as well, just because the views are so amazing. So that's fun that you mentioned that. Is I don't even know, but is Castaways in Burbank or it's just near Burbank?
it's in Burbank.
Oh, it is in Burbank. Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, that reminds me. I'll have to circle back to that.
yeah. It's one of my favorite place, and my wife's.
So I do want to talk to you about investing in Burbank. So would you say that there's an opportunity to buy property as a rental property right now? Or maybe is there another investing strategy you know of? For example, are people like converting the garages to a second unit, or maybe tearing down the property and rebuilding brand new? I mean, what are you seeing the investors do in your market?
Good, good question. Probably Burbank is extremely unique, um, and unique in a way that all over California there's a rent control. However, Burbank has a rent control also, but investors can. I sold a guy a 4 unit and gave a 1 month relocation fee to each tenant
Okay.
to vacate them. But if you have 4 unit in any place, North Hollywood, Sunland, Tahanga, whatever location, which is not city incorporated like Burbank, you cannot take a tenant out. You have to give 20, 30,000, 60,000, depends on the age. And so Burbank is unique in that for investment. So investors, they love it because, they can give 1 month relocation fee. And also a lot of people buy it in Burbank because of school. They buy condo, townhouse, like
Mhm.
usually it's like if you want a decent townhouse condo, it's going to be between 600,000 700,000. Sometimes you can find 540, 550.
Okay.
It's not the best. It's a fixer or something, but people buy because of the school. They
Yeah.
buy them, they rent them, and for homes they add ADU, accessory dwelling units. They
Yes.
convert the garage to an ADU, or they leave the garage. They add, if the lot is a good size, over 5 6,000, and they have a decent 40%, you can build on that lot, and they can put an ADU if it's that in that 40% square footage.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's such a neat idea to add the ADU, the second home on the property. It just adds additional income. So I love hearing that. How about Airbnb? Is your market something where you can do Airbnb, and would there be a market for people who want to stay in Burbank?
Good question. I know Burbank changed the rules on Airbnb.
Hmm.
It's not easy anymore. You have to rent it for a long term.
I
Uh,
see.
I'm not really familiar the last what they passed the council members.
Yeah.
Uh,
Airbnb is tricky because by the time the recording comes out, it'll probably be changed once again, right? So Airbnb is constantly changing from city to city. I think one of the good investing opportunities right now is having a fully furnished rental, but doing like you said, maybe 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, sort of a long short-term stay. Those are many times allowed by the cities, and tends to be less wear and tear on your property too.
That's true. That's true. They Burbank, just like several other cities, they have some restriction on Airbnb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I do want to take a moment to give people your contact information. You've been a wealth of information so far. I do have more questions for you, but we'll take a moment to give your info. If people do want to work with you, whether to buy real estate or sell real estate, I definitely recommend you just because of your, good track record, and 33 years in the business is hard to compete with, as other agents aren't going to have the experience that you do. So I have his phone number and website on the screen. If you're listening to the podcast, I'll put it in the show notes, and I'll just give you his website, markarianrealty.com, and his phone number is 818-248-8668. That's a good phone number. There's some lucky eights in there. So
Yeah.
yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for that. And let me ask you a few more questions. I've got 3 more for you today.
Yeah.
All right. So I would like to ask you if there's one tip that you have for maybe an out of area home buyer. Maybe it's something that they are moving from New York, or they're moving from some other market. What's one thing that they don't know when they move to Burbank that they should know?
One thing, I think safety is number one thing. If they don't know, if you want to live in a safe neighborhood,
Yeah.
uh, I think that's number one. And if they have kids, schools is number two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
really important because I think sometimes buyers will jump on, Zillow or name your favorite real estate website, and you start searching and you're like, well, the homes are cheaper over here. Well, it's usually a reason. So
yes.
Burbank really is a great community. All right. So I did want to ask you about a specific transaction. I wanted to ask you if you could tell us about something you recently sold, but you did that earlier. You mentioned $900 a square foot. It's a pretty awesome sale. Any other transactions come to mind? Maybe an active listing or something like that you want to share?
Yeah, I talk to a lot of sellers. I talk to 5, 6 sellers every day.
Hmm.
Sometimes it takes time for them to basically put the property in the market. The good news is the other one that I shared, the Lincoln property that I bought them 31 years ago. We had so many offers. The seller just wanted to sell as is, no inspection, no loan, no appraisal contingency. And even though we had higher offer than the price, but the seller chose 30,000 less just because he wanted to have peace of mind as is.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is something just happened like recently. That's what we sold another condominium there in Burbank, north of Glen Oaks. But those are the other two was the major one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And
Isn't that so interesting that it's a good reminder for buyers? It's in a real estate transaction, it's both price and terms. So terms means what else can you offer the seller besides the price that would be attractive? And if you get to know the seller and find their hot buttons, you can potentially win the deal. So that's exciting. You shared that story.
yeah, and this is amazing thing also. When I first started real estate, there was no internet.
Yeah.
So I was in Burbank. So what I was doing, the way I found this beautiful family, the property 31 years ago, I used to drive every day 2, 3, 4 hours the streets, drive because there was no internet. So the book takes like a week or 2 weeks to come out. Agents used to put signs before the property goes on the book. So that's the
Oh,
way I found that property
wow.
actually for them. It wasn't in the book yet, and actually it was listed by an agent from Hollywood, which we wouldn't, even if it was in the book, we wouldn't see it because Burbank book now, the internet, Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, all those, Google, you can find property. But 30, at that time, I had to drive. I drove every street. If a buyer said I want to look North Glen Oaks, they give me. So I drove there almost every day until we find properties for them. We found it from the signs, actually. It's like,
I love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way I found it. Takes hard work.
Yeah,
And
it's such a great reminder too, because a lot of realtors are not proactive, and they'll just sort of sit on the sidelines and wait for things to happen. And I can almost guarantee that's the reason you're in the spot that you're in now, just because you are proactive and taking action for your clients, and it stood the test of time. So that's awesome.
yeah, exactly. And still right now, we find off-market property hard
Yeah,
to find coming soon, or for our clients, we focus on expired, sometimes canceled listing for sale by owners, because the inventory is low.
yes,
So the client wants something, you know, sometimes it's not on the market, or if it's on the market, you be very fast, because time is against us. You know what
yep,
I mean? And
yep,
the client has to do, like you said, the terms. Client has to give better terms in order their offer to be sweet to the seller. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
uh,
That's
so
important. Well, I have one final question for you. I would like you to share with the audience, if we were going to come spend a weekend in Burbank, what would you recommend that are maybe some things we should see or do while we're there?
well, I recommend them to go to Castaway, one of the restaurants, to
Yes.
go to the mall. If they want to visit the airport, I love Burbank Airport because it's less congested than Los Angeles.
Hmm.
There's several places to visit in Burbank. If they want to go to Disney, I think they have to make an appointment. The building or Warner Brother, So those are the things. My suggestion. And if they want to go to Toluca Lake, which there's a lot of movie stars, I guess, there. They can drive those streets.
Yeah,
So
that's actually a great idea. I've never done that myself, and I would love to drive around the Toluca Lake area.
yeah. So those are the things I recommend.
Yeah,
So anyway, there's a. Do you want to hear a joke about real estate?
sure, sure.
Anyway, so this guy tells his friend, he goes, "Man, you built a beautiful house, but it looks like a basketball.
Oh,
Uh, I never seen a house like this. Why did you build this like a ball?" He goes, "Yeah, because my mother-in-law told me, son, if you build a house, make sure I have a small corner. I build it like a basketball, so there will be no corner." I love my mother-in-law. Just a joke. So,
oh, that's too
so
funny. I have not, I have not heard that one, and the in-law thing is a real thing. Many people will find that funny, so thank you for sharing that. Well, Vic, you've been a pleasure, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I'll remind everyone listening, Vic and I are both real estate agents. I work the Orange County, California market, and Vic is north of me. He's in the Burbank, Los Angeles County market. If either of us can be helpful in your real estate journeys, reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you. And thanks again for being on the show, Vic.
thank you so much. Can I add the last thing, if it's
Yes,
okay?
please.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
In our team, we have 24 people approximately.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
the team leader. We say relationship business. Real estate is not transactional business. It's a relationship business.
Yes.
Buyers or sellers, that's the biggest investment, and they have a lot of stress, and our goal is to help them out. And I tell my team that think your paycheck depends on 3 R's: referral, repeat clients, and reviews. That's what your paycheck depends on. If you focus on that, you will exceed clients' expectation. And that's by grace of God. That's why we have we have awesome team. We have over 500 five-star reviews, Zillow, Google, and Yelp, and, you know,
I should add too. So the reason we're talking today is I did just a real quick Google search, best realtor in Burbank, and you just shot right to the top of the list. So I'm glad you reminded me of that. it was all the online reviews that I'm like, we got to get this guy on the show and talk to him about Burbank. So that's awesome.
Thank you. I'm humbled to do this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, thanks again, and you guys enjoy the day.
Thank you. God bless you.